Midre guys, welcome to my YouTube channel slash podcast. My name is Ann-Adeva and I am black. So the podcast is called Unpopular Opinion. This is our very first audiovisual episode. So I'm trying to do three things at the same time, which is look at the camera, look into the monitor, four things actually. Look into my notes because I don't want to forget anything. And then most importantly, project and enunciate because I know you cannot see me. You can probably hear me, and if you see me, I want to make sure that you hear me, So this will be available on YouTube and on all our streaming platforms for the podcast. But most importantly, what I really wanted to bring out in this episode, the fact that I want everyone to just, I know everybody has this perspective of me as like their big sister or the sister that they never had, or just a good friend that they wish they had, and blah blah blah. So I had a situation. The reason why I decided to, first of all, the reason why I decided to call this episode Letter to My Mom or My Mother is because I just felt like it's so important to have like this becoming a woman conversation with our mothers. So this for me comes from the fact that I had this conversation with my own mother when I was 19, 20 years old. And I felt like her response to what I told her was like basically just her proving or sticking by her word on everything that she had tried to teach me as she raised me all the years. Like it was actually like me seeing that she's been consistent throughout and she has not failed in her like her teachings, and that she stayed true to her word and that she's not a hypocrite basically. Because if anybody knows my mom, she raised us to be very outspoken children, to stand up for ourselves and to always have our own opinion on every single thing, and to know our rights and to be individuals and to remain true to ourselves. So it was like if she had responded to our conversation differently, I would have felt like, okay, so she's telling me to have my own opinion, but she's shooting me down when I finally have my own opinion and my own identity and I'm trying to stick to something, you know? So just a little backstory to the topic basically. I had a friend of mine 2 years ago or three, I think. She had texted me, and that time we weren't as close as we are now. So she texted me and she was like, yo, I have this situation with my mom. Like, she's always tripping when I need to go out with my friends. Like, she doesn't want me to go anywhere. She's so strict. Like, I can't even tell her anything. Like, everything I tell her, she just turns it into a lecture, or she gets upset with me. Or if I make a mistake, like if I come home late or whatever, it's like she uses it against me every time I want to do something else. Like, she's just always upset about everything that I do, basically. Like, there's just constant tension. Every time she tries to bring up something or basically just have like, or whenever there's an altercation, it just turns to an even bigger one, and then the silent treatment, and just just many things on things. So she was like, what do you think I should do? Like, how do you think I should talk to my mom? Because I really admire the relationship that you have with your mom, and I feel like your mom is always really understanding of you going out and just your life in general. Like, it doesn't feel like she gives you the same vibe that my mom gives me, basically. But the reason why I'm bringing it up now is because a few days ago, I had another friend of mine ask me for the same advice, basically, like saying that, I don't want to hide stuff from my mom anymore. I just want to like be open and transparent. Like, how do I go about doing that? So when I gave her the advice, she was like, dude, you need to write down like everything you just said, or send me a voice note or whatever, because I need to like reframe it and send it to my mom as well. So the thing is, the way that she had this conversation. So the conversation that I'm talking about is basically just you as a teenager or as a young woman, or maybe you're even my age, maybe you're even older than your 20s, and you just still feel like you have that wall between you and your mom. If you feel like, or not even if you feel like, but just try. So this is also what I told both of them. If you feel like your mom is not the kind of person that can receive information like that, just try. Like, I think we have a tendency to judge our parents based on like how they treated us when we were younger, or just the way that they brought us up as individuals. And I understand, yes, like it's good to know your parents and what kind of reactions they would have and stuff like that, but I also feel like we're kind of then never giving them the opportunity to grow and become different people, because the way that they were operating or functioning when we were younger is more out of like trying to protect us and make sure nothing bad happens to us and that we don't make bad decisions, so that they can basically be a good relationship between us and them, and so that they can fulfill their identity or their role as our protectors and guardians, and not necessarily like try to be our friends or like be someone we can confide in, you know so I feel a lot of times the reason why this, like you trying to basically explain to your mom how you're becoming a woman now and you have like your own ideas and your own things that you want to do as a person, and you need her to kind of respect and acknowledge this womanhood, is because I would say our cultural hierarchy. Like if you're black or Indian or Arab or just like, you know what I mean, or Latina or Latino, it's like there's this hierarchy thing. It's like God, parents, and then children, you know. And even as a child, when you become an adult, you are only an adult as much as your parents will allow you to be an adult. Like you're adult enough to pay the Wi-Fi, but you are not an adult enough to make your own decisions and decide to get married. Like if you decide you want to get married in the next month, your parents are going to be like, whoa, 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 wait now, you're still a child. But if it's like, okay, we need the Wi-Fi to be paid, or we need I don't know, we need someone to come and do something for the family party, then you're an adult. Or you need to take care of your younger siblings, then you're an adult. But when it comes to you making decisions about your own life, like deciding to quit your job and be self-employed or something like that, then it's like, oh, you're still a child, you don't know anything about life. You know what I mean? So I feel like from that cultural hierarchy is like, I feel like that's where the block is between us and our parents. Because I remember myself, my mom still does it to this day. She would always be like, I'm not your friend, I'm your mother. And that for me when I was growing up was like, okay, so I know now I cannot tell my mom certain things. And I understand where that comes from as well, because as a parent, it's hard for you to raise a child that doesn't identify or like that doesn't acknowledge your role of authority in their lives. Like it's very hard for you to discipline someone that doesn't respect you or doesn't even see you as someone worth listening to. So I understand the need or the purpose to reinforce this idea that I'm your parent and not your friend, basically. But I say this to say that this dilemma and keeping us in a child's place is also what is hampering us of becoming adult women who have a relationship with each other. Because like now I have a boyfriend and I'm in a committed relationship with him, and if ever we decide to get like super serious or take things to the next level or moving together or whatever, I would want to be able to talk to my mom about this. I'd want to be able to go to her and be like, mom, I feel like this about this guy. Do you think it's a good idea? Do you think I should move in with him? Or like, I want you guys to meet because I'm really serious about him and I want him to be part of my family, that kind of vibe. Like, I don't want to be like scared, or I don't want to be like, what is she gonna think? Or, I just want her to be like, I respect you. Let me meet this guy. Even if I don't approve of him, I'm going to respect your decision as an adult to date this person. And I'm going to try to give you advice, but I'm not going to try and make a decision for you, basically. Like that's the kind of relationship that I feel like I have now with my mom, and I wish that other women have that with their mother or any parent, because maybe you're not close to your mom, maybe you're close to your dad, but just any parent basically in your life. I feel like everybody deserves to have that kind of transparency with their parents, you know what I mean? So I feel like when you do this with your mother, I want you to be open and honest, and I want you to come from a place of like trying to get through to her, and not a place of like saying, this is my life and you can't tell me what to do. Try to come across as like, I feel like I'm growing up now. You're the woman that I admire in my life. You are the closest woman to whom I relate because you raised me. You probably know me better than other people, or you know the version that I present you or whatever. And I feel like there are other parts of me that I want to show you, and there are other things in my life that I'm growing up, and I just want like advice from someone that I know is not gonna go gossip about me on Twitter or Instagram. Do you know what I mean? Because like if I have a yeast infection or something, I don't want somebody to go and gossip about me on Instagram because I have a yeast infection, or because I don't know which birth control to take, or because I think I'm pregnant or something. You know what I mean? Like I just want to have at least somebody that I can trust, and I know that my mom is old, she's not gonna go gossip about me with people because she's my mother and she doesn't have any ill intentions towards me, you know. And I understand also, I will acknowledge that not every mother is like this, but if your mom is like that, try. And even if she's not, try at least before you give up on the relationship. I would always say try, because I tried with both my parents and it only worked with my mom. And I'm so grateful that I did try, because now that I'm growing up as an adult and I'm trying to have my own family one day and form a family with my siblings, I'm learning the values that I feel like are important for my family and that I want my kids to carry on once I give birth or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know now I have this identity in my mind that I would like for my family to be at this stage or this far in everything that I'm setting up or that I'm envisioning for us as a group or as a collective amount of people, you know. And I feel like if you come from a place of love, it's possible for you not to place any expectations on your mother. And also remember that she doesn't owe you a reaction that you're expecting. So the same way that you don't owe any man your coochie is the same way that your mom doesn't owe you her respect. So if she decides to be like, you know what, this is nonsense, I don't agree, you're still a child, what do you know about life, you don't know anything, you won't come and tell me, I am the only queen in this house, there can be no other queen, if you want to be a queen, go and build your own house, not under my roof, da 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 da, then you know where you stand, her. But like, don't expect that she's just gonna be open and love everything that you say. Like, if you don't believe me, there was a time my mom and I were not talking for 2 months because of a boyfriend that I had at the time, and she didn't like the relationship because of the way that she found out that I was dating this person. Like, it was just very sus to her, and we didn't talk for 2 months because of that. And when we did start talking, she was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna let my child do her own thing, I'm gonna let her fall by herself, and if she gets hurt, I'll pick her up and we'll figure it out together, you know. And as it did happen, I did get hurt and we did pick me up and we did work on the stuff. And because of that, I felt like my relationship with my mom also helped me to identify red flags with men. Like, there's so many benefits that have come from me being able to just talk to my mother. Like, I know more about my health as a woman, like things I should be careful for or things I need to prioritize, like going to a gynecologist, what questions I need to ask my gynecologist, what questions I need to be asking my doctor, what questions I need to be asking any man that I'm interested in dating, what things I need to be careful for, you know, how he treats me, you know, stuff like that. Because also, when I realized that my mom also has her own trauma, I realized that both my parents had their own trauma. Like, both my parents had like a very, like, they don't talk about it enough, but they had a very hard life growing up and they went through a lot of things. Like, my mom was literally in the liberation struggle as well, and she was like an activist and protesting and shot at by police with tear gas, rubber bullets, all that stuff. It's scary. She saw people, you know, growing up in the hood, people killing each other, drug addiction, alcohol addiction. She lost most of her friends to the jail system, teenage pregnancy, drug addictions, alcohol addiction, stuff like that. And it is traumatic to go through stuff like that. And I cannot expect her to just be cool with the fact that I go out every weekend and I consume alcohol. Of course, she's gonna be like, you know what? I know people that also felt like they had alcohol under control. I know people that also felt like they knew everything about drinking and they're not here anymore. And I don't want you to be one of those people. You know, of course, it's easy for her to come from that point of view of just like prevention is better than cure, you know? And I understand and respect that, but I had to like tell her that I'm my own person now. I want to grow up. I want to be able to be close to you. Like, just when I was a child and I would hurt myself, I want to run to you first before anybody on this earth. Like, I don't want to have to run to an anonymous page and like submit my dilemma via email or voice note and have the whole world da 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 da, like, you know. And I do remember before I had this conversation with my mom, I also had this conversation with Buhle Bendalo, I think that's her name. She's a former member of the Soil. I'll put her name here. She used to have Instagram lives on her Sisketi Instagram page, and I joined the live one day by luck. She chose me, and I felt like it was just divine that I was on the live, because there would always be a lot of people wanting to join the live. And she gave me very valuable advice. She told me, you know what, you need to sit down with your mother and you need to tell her everything that you're facing. And the things, among others, that I'm also going to make a podcast episode were the fact that I was being made to be an adult well before my adulthood. Like, I was responsible for my siblings, and I still am to some extent, even though I didn't give birth to them. And I remember when I was a teenager, I'd always tell my mom, like, you know, I don't understand why I have to do all these things. Like, I didn't give birth to anyone. And I would always say this, but it would like just fly over her head, basically. And she would still just assign me with more responsibilities, and I would still have to go to the hospital with people, pay the bills of the house, run errands for the family. Like, that was my job as the firstborn. And a lot of other Black African girls, it's not only African girls, but I feel like I cannot obviously just generalize, because I don't know the experiences of other ethnic groups. And I think that maybe if we came together, and or if we shared more of our stories, it would help people not feel so alone, because I'm sure that these two women that came to me about this issue also felt alone, because I felt very alone. And I had an older sister who used to live with us. Shout out to you, Nono. But she moved out when I don't even remember, but she moved out of the house and then obviously started her own life. And I remember talking to her one day on the phone, and I was like, dude, I just feel so overwhelmed. Like, I have so many responsibilities, and I'm trying to do my own thing, and I'm trying to live my own life, but I have to like take care of these kids, and I have to do this, and I have to do that, and I have to do this, and I have to do that. And she was like, yeah, that was my job. That was my job, and now you're basically just a new me, and you either have to accept it or you have to talk to her about it. And I did, and I was like, it was eye-opening for me, because I felt like, why did she never share that experience with anyone? Like, why did she never even talk to me about it, at least, or like say, you know? Because I remember she used to be very frustrated. Like, she had to do a lot of stuff for us. She had to make our lunch boxes for school. She had to iron our uniforms, because, you know, we couldn't obviously operate irons when we were toddlers or under 12. And she would sometimes also have to help washing our hair, help doing the laundry. Like, she was the only one doing the laundry with my mom for a house of 6-7 people, sometimes 8 if we were having people like coming to spend the holiday or whatever. So she would have to do all that stuff. She would have to clean the house. She'd have to cook sometimes, because there was also a time my mom was in university and she would have to cook dinner. So imagine you have to come home from school, do your homework, go hang out with your friends, come back home in time to make dinner, and then make sure everybody's things are ready, help other people with their homework as well, check on everybody else to make sure nobody else like hurt themselves or is dirty, because everybody has to bath before your mom comes home. You have to defrost the chicken or whatever stuff my mom said you have to do before she gets home. It was just a lot, and I can empathize with her, because it ended up being my a lot as well. I also ended up being the one doing the laundry after she moved out for a minute, until my siblings also started doing their own laundry. And now my sister is the one who's doing all this. But I feel like now there's more of a shared responsibility when it comes to like house chores and stuff like that. And I feel like now we as siblings also are more able to like tell each other, no, I'm not gonna clean this mess of yours, or you do the bathroom from now on and I'll do the kitchen and the living room. Or, you know, it's easier for us to like be honest with each other and say like how we expect things to happen. Or if I want to go out for the weekend, I can ask my sister to do the laundry on my behalf, so that I can, you know, go out earlier, and then next week I can do it for her or whatever like that. And I feel that if you do have this conversation, try to know that her reaction is going to determine, or try to communicate that with her as well, or him, that their reaction is going to determine the future of your relationship. Like, if they say, you know what, you're always going to be a child in my eyes, how dare you, what makes you think you're going to be a woman? So you think now because you got your fucking degree and you know every fucking thing, So if they respond like that, then you'd already know that this relationship is not going to go further than this. But if they respond with, you can also end at the end like, maybe you need some time, maybe we can also have a conversation about this, because I remember I told my first friend that at the end she should mention like, I would really like for us to talk about this more in person, because with her mom, for instance, in her case, I had recommended that she tell her mom to come up with rules that will make her feel more comfortable with her going out at night. So for instance, with my mom, we already had rules, and these rules were there since we were children. So the rules were basically always tell someone where you're going, until what time, and where and with who you are going to be. So if I would go out, I would tell my mom like, I'm going out with Nathan, and we're going to go to Beeks first, and then we're maybe going to go to Navara or Fashion, and then we are going to stay there. If we end up going somewhere else, it doesn't matter, because I already told her with who I am and until what time we're going to be there. And then I also gave my mom some of my friends' numbers. I know she had like Nangula Seven's number, like she had like my close friends' numbers on her phone, so that if anything were ever to happen. This also, I'm gonna just add this part here. Be honest with your parent or your guardian. Like, I think also the reason why my mom was able to be so open about the conversation is because she could always trust me, and I could always use her trust and not betray it, basically. Like, even with my brother, like he would go out for the weekend, and he would text my mom the next morning like, oh, I slept over at this person's place, I'm coming back on Wednesday or Thursday or whatever, and then she knows where he is, because once you break your parents' trust, it's very hard for them to even now respect your character or respect you as a person with integrity, because you said you were going to go here, but then you lied. Now you ended up in Swakopmund and you are stranded and you need money to come home, something like that. So try to not take their trust for granted, and also be honest with them, as honest as you can be. Obviously, I was now not gonna say, yeah mommy, I'm going to my sneaky link's house until next week Friday. Nia chomi, no, never ever. But at least I will tell my sister, I'll be like, it's a, I'm going to this guy for the weekend and here's my location, and then I'll just tell my mom that I'm going out with my friends, because I probably will in the beginning, so that the story can jela mutslam yes omwapumba kukala wakoka, huh? You must be strong, you must be smart. So yeah, always be honest and transparent, and don't lie, and try to share as much information as you can, because things really do happen. Women are going missing out here, okay? Women are being murdered, bad things are happening, and it would be a horror for your mom to have to wonder what happened to you, if you could just have told her at least that I went to this friend's house last. Like, if we can look at the case, for instance, of Shannon Vassafal, she also told her parents or someone in her family where she was gonna go, and she left her child with someone, and based off that they were able to start putting the pieces together. Now imagine if she never told anybody where she was, we'd probably not have found her to this day, because we didn't have even a single gram to start looking for her. And things like that really happen. I'm not even gonna lie to you, things are happening in this world. The world is real, life is not a joke. So try to also think of your safety, because more than anything, your safety is the only thing that matters to your parents. Your parents would rather you be safe at a man's house than be in a sex trafficking ring somewhere in the world, because you didn't want to tell anyone, and you just ended up not being able to use your social skills and discernment to determine who are good for you and who not. So I didn't want to end it on a scary note, but just be safe out here, y'all, because we are in danger, girl. We are in danger. Okay, I am underwater. Help me. Anyways, sorry, I didn't mean to make a joke out of that, but honestly, be real, stop the cap. And yeah, I guess that's all I can say. If it doesn't work out with your mom or your dad, try to rely on someone else in your family. I have really nice aunties that I can confide in, that I know will not go and gossip about me with the other family members. I have my siblings. I have my sister, my younger sister, who I trust with like all my secrets in my life. And I know that she would never like want to hurt me with the information that I give her, no matter how bad our relationship gets or how mad I make her or whatever. And I know that she's on my team. And if you don't have someone like that, you need to start doing some investigations and some eliminations of people in your life to find the people that you can actually rely on, because there's nothing scarier than not knowing who is there for you. So with that being said, thank you for tuning into this episode. Let me know if you guys want more audiovisual episodes. Please do rate this podcast and like my video, share and comment. Let us know, what is your relationship with your mom? Did you have to do the same thing? If you did you do it otherwise? What other advice can you give people that you think I left out? And I feel like conversations like this are really important, because the way that my life is now and the way that I relate to people would not have been possible if I couldn't start doing these things from home with my own family. With that being said, guys, bly veilig, raak by spasial op. See you in the next episode.